This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Pivot with talent too. You start to announce more names as we get closer. Rick Steiner, Conan, Steve Carino, Norman Smiley, Devin Storm, the Vampire Warrior, aka Gangrel, K Crush, who we know as Ron Killings, who used to be known at this point as K Quick in the WWF. They're all announced for the Battle Royal lineup, and the women's Battle Royal is a lingerie Battle Royal. Again, I know a Jerry Jarrett idea when I hear one.
Of course you do.
And that's going to be taped on June 19th and air on the June 26th show. The Cruiserweight title, this is directly from the Observer, will be put up in a 6-man one-night tournament that also airs on June 26th with Jerry Lynn, Low Key, AJ Styles, Sonny Siaki, George Estrada or Jorge, and Jimmy Yang. So chat me up. There's a lot to unpack there, but specifically talk to me about the X division, because Eric Bischoff has railed for years about how stupid the X division was. He didn't agree that it shouldn't be called cruiserweight. And he sort of mocked that you guys would say, it's not about weight limits. It's about no limits or whatever. But he says that no one could ever really explain the X division. I have to admit, I disagree with Eric. I thought it was cool. And I was really happy to see how it wound up at that first taping in Huntsville. Who first pitched the idea of the X division?
Me. It created a division. I didn't know Eric had railed on it such, but what you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And Eric will be the first to say he's not an in-ring performer. But as a promoter, and Eric's candidly not a promoter. When you promote lesser than, cruiserweight, junior heavyweight, light heavyweight, you're not a heavyweight.
Right.
So you are promoting lesser than. So I always had the mindset, like the promotion, we're not number two, although it goes without saying, we're a distant number two. We're the alternative.
Yes.
All like that vernacular and that verbiage, and we are the alternative. And the X division had a wonderful opportunity to really set us apart, that I knew Vince McMahon had never done it and would never do it. He would never feature, just like Eric experienced. He featured the cruiserweights and called them the cruiserweights, but it made his product different. I was going with the X division. It was a hybrid form of wrestling, and we harped on that. It's not totally lucha. It's not totally mat wrestling. It's not totally strong style. It's even going to have some showmanship of U.S. wrestling, but it's all going to be rolled into one, and it's not going to have, not about weight limits. It's about no limits. It's going to have the flip flop and fly guys. And it's interesting that Meltzer called it a 6-man tournament, because if I remember correctly, on the first show, we had a 6-man tag, but in the show 2, episode 2 of the 19th, we had AJ being crowned the first ever X Division champion. And it really was a defining moment, in my opinion, on AJ Styles' career.
No doubt. We're going to talk about it when we talk about episode 2, but it is a big show, and it is a big moment for him. And it's also, candidly, a kind of cool looking belt. I think Reggie Parks made that first one. Do you reach out to Reggie and say, hey, here's what I got in mind, and he comes up with the art, or do you remember that somebody on your team created it?
No, I mean, obviously it's a simple creation, and I approved the drawings, but an X, it's not very hard. That, one thing I did like about it is that, if I remember correctly, obviously the NWA and the lineage with those belts, the single and the tag.
Yeah.
But that was the first belt that was going to have TNA on it.
Yes.
It wasn't the NWA X Division. It was the TNA X Division Championship. And it was a way to identify us that it wasn't a lesser than belt. It was TNA's own. And it really, as time would tell, it set us apart. And I always found it fascinating that folks like Eric would say, help me understand what this is about. And
but why is that hard? For years and years, there's been a world champion and there's been a U.S. champion. Then there's been a world champion, a U.S. champion, and a TV champion. And then maybe there's been an intercontinental champion. So I understand if we're trying to have matches of a different style. where maybe there is going to be more fast-paced action, more acrobatics, more aerial assaults, whatever descriptor you want to use. But that's not exactly what we're doing here. How would you describe the style and the difference between a guy who would be going for the world title versus a guy who would be going for the X title?
High risk, high reward moves. I'm trying to think to put it in a very concise. The X Games was new and blossoming, and X Generation and all that. It was a style of wrestling, and wink, wink behind the scenes. Hey guys, there's not going to be a lot of storyline driven components to this, like a heavyweight. Like
okay, all right. So let's just play. Let's say it plain speak. Quit being so damn nice up there. If you're in a match for the world title, we're going to be heavy on story. If you're in a match for the X title, y'all are going to go do some flippy shit.
Bingo.
Why wouldn't you just say flippy shit?
What does a promoter do? He accentuates the positive.
Sure.
You are crotchety. You're mad because you're got to do all these damn podcasts today and you're in a bad mood. You probably got to use the bathroom right now. I'm going to talk a long time just to extend it. I
didn't drink before I recorded with you because I wanted to make sure. So I do have some dry mouth going, but I do not have to go run pee. So chat me up about guys like Samoa Joe. He's not exactly a flippy shit guy, and we're way ahead. Joe's not even here yet, but he's going to be a big part of the X division. So is it more the quote unquote strong style, and the NWA world title is more of the classic Jerry Jarrett style of wrestling?
Well, we're going to really you and me break it down granular the way I see it.
Yes.
So there's a WWF style, and that is, I don't want to call them because that term rest hold, because it connotates
slower, methodical.
But it is the transitions between moves are, I don't like this term, but I'm going to use it because it's a common phrase. The rest holds. The transitions are rest holds. In the X division, when you see these guys, and Joe maybe have been the very best, I'll say Joe, AJ, and Daniels, and there's others in there, that their style and how to put transitions together. You don't see a guy like Joe 260 doing a tope between the top and second rope, but the style of wrestling and putting together the transitions and I'm using the Canadian Destroyer, but the new innovative moves, and they don't do, AJ would do a flying elbow off the top rope that was his own. Was it a flying, just their moves were innovative. Their skill set was innovative. You didn't see a lot of walking and talking in their matches.
Yes.
The style was different, period. Across the board.
Let's run through some of the other talent we mentioned here. Ron Killings, how was he to do business with?
Great. I mean, always good. And I, I love the comedy Ron, and everybody knows that. But when R-Truth lays down a serious, I call it money-making promo,
it's legit.
I think he's right up there at the very top of it, because he's got a cadence that you can't coach. You can't teach.
When I was a little kid, my uncle, my mom's brother, he would come over and watch Saturday Night's Main Event with me, and he was always sort of my wrestling uncle. So he would drive me to Atlanta to see an ECW TV taping or whatever. He heard about this, and we decided to buy tickets. So we got tickets, and we went to this show together. And our takeaway when it was over was Ken Shamrock, AJ Styles, and Ron Killings and Sonny Siaki are going to be big stars.
Oh, wow.
So we'll talk about that a little bit next week when we
Sonny, I can't wait to talk about him.
Hey, Big Daddy, you got to get excited about saving people money. Woo! Woo!
SaveWithConrad.com.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.